Okay, good morning. This is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching. It is Thursday morning, Thursday the 11th, and we are done with Fed Chair's testimony. Thank goodness. Before we get started, I need to read this really quick. No, it may have popped up. There it is. Well, there we go. Important disclaimer and reminder for all traders and investors: this webinar is for educational purposes only and not a recommendation to buy or sell any particular financial instrument. Equities, futures, options, and currency trading have large potential rewards, but also large potential risks. You must be aware of the risks and be willing to accept them in order to invest in the futures and options markets. Absolutely do not trade money you can't afford to lose. The website is neither a solicitation nor an offer to buy or sell equities, futures, or options. No representation is being made that any account will or is likely to achieve profits or losses similar to those discussed in this channel. Past performance of any trading system or methodology is not necessarily indicative of future results. Absolutely consult your registered financial advisor and your risk trading plan before ever investing or trading any financial instrument. So I'm going to just address a couple of obvious things. This morning we obviously had a nice fat reversal out of the 2980 area. This does not mean the market is ready to reverse. So remember, the key element has been that we've been unable to make it below the prior day's points of control, whether you use the volume point of control or the TPO point of control. Each day we've gotten there. That has acted as support. Support's just been unable to hold. So the first question we have really on the day is, can we get below and hold below 863.50? And you'll see once again here that if we break this out, that all night long we've been holding that 28.72 to 28.63. It's just been the area that's been held. The Globex low is just below that at 28.51. So for me, in order to go, hey, things have changed, this is a blow off top, I want to see us trading below 28.51.75. Okay. Secondly, there's two prominent low volume nodes in this area. There's 28.39 to 28.18 and 28.05 to 27.98. They're both inside fair value. My guess is, well, I don't have a guess. Really, I'm just going to be focused on whether the volume point of control. I wouldn't be surprised to see us spend some time filling in. Also, what we haven't been able to do, get below value area low from a prior day's trading session, so that brings up 27.60, and finally yesterday's low at 27.02. That would require right now a 200-point reversal from where we're trading right now. So keep in mind, what we're looking for is a change in both aggression and movement in a particular direction. That's the first thing that we're looking for, right? We're going, oh, this is really fast, or oh, this is really slow, right? I'm looking to see if it's really fast to the downside, if the range expands to the downside, if the rotation's up, can't beat the rotations down. I'm looking for the little clues that'll help me figure out what the market wants to do, right? You'll notice there's some anomalies here, right at 27.60 to 27.40. Look, when this thing reverses, we've pretty much gone straight up. If you take out the overnight, which I'll do really quick. I'll just lower this to 20 days so it's quicker. Take out the overnight, you're just one time into the upside, and it's just been, since the first, we've just been going up. So that means all of that is poorly auctioned, essentially, all the way up. And the bottom of that is way down there. I don't know that it'll re-auction or when it'll re-auction. I know it should re-auction, which is very different than this is when it will re-auction, right? So we'll just take it step by step. Let's throw back on the overnight. Throw on the overnight. this is where we're at, and I'll have to adjust the, well, it's pretty close still right now. It hasn't really moved much, so I'll see if I have to adjust it at the open. Next thing I want to stress, okay? I only spoke to one person, a newer member who's been in the room before and then left and then came back. They blew out yesterday their funded accounts shorting. I thought shorting was, I rarely say this, ridiculous yesterday, especially after the Apple news. You know, when the market's at an extreme, it may look short, it may go like you can't just keep going up. That mentality costs traders so much money unless you can manage your size and your swing appropriately. But most of the people in the room on the time frame they're concentrated on aren't going to let a trade roll 200 points against them, and so therefore the short's ridiculous. How do you know when the short will work? We have a prime example of that this morning. Here, the market rolls up, right? Here's 7:30. We go up. What are we looking for? Arrow up that gets stuffed. Now watch. Pretend like we could trade this, right? First of all, you have no evidence that it can push down, but if you wanted to speculate, right? If you wanted to speculate, what you're looking for is an arrow up, they get stuffed, and involves a no supply, no demand somewhere in there, if possible, right? So if you'll look, your first indication was here, untradeable again. The down bar that broke the consolidation was on a no supply, no demand, and that rolled to the downside here. Next, you get a down arrow with no supply, no demand. 2 bars up, that's where your long is. It only has half the formula, but that's all right. It still works, especially when the down bar has a no supply, no demand. Rolls back up. At the peak, this is important. White arrow up, no supply, no demand. 2 bars down is your entry. That gave you the short to the downside. But what really told you this thing might be short is this range expansion right here. This is what told you this 960 to 870, right? That's what told me, hey, I can come out and play and see if there's rotation that'll support. I'm going to say this again. Yesterday, when you're looking at this chart, this is from 10 a.m. Approximately here at 11:15, this is when Apple announced. So I want you to go, we're going to go use the system exactly as supposed. This is when Apple announces that they're going to have higher than expected phone shipments. It's at 11:15. I remember it quite clearly because I was looking at going, wow, look at that. We came off, this blue line was the 50 retrace from the open. So now let's say I wanted to short, right? The shorting was important to me. Okay. Up, 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 up. This became a candidate, never got verified right here. I'm going to show you what the shorting would look like here. This is verified, valid. Right here you got the arrow up, no supply, no demand. No supply, no demand. That has 3 of the 4 pieces. The only thing that could have made this better would have been an arrow down right here. You didn't have it, but that's all right. That's a stop. I mean, it went sideways for a couple of minutes, 15 minutes, couldn't get any kind of extension. Stopped you out. Your next trade is right here. No supply, no demand, arrow up, this is your entry. You barely, and I mean barely got a scale, right? Then you're coming through here, and it actually ended up triggering long here. Not a point to worry about, right? And then the next place you got a signal to short would have been, based on our process, long or short here would have been, well, nothing. That's where the day ended, right? So that should have been one of your worst case scenarios. And the first thing you should have noticed is, if I was looking for a short, the first thing that would have clued me in to look for a short would have been right here. Why? Because we rotated down more than 3 bars in a row in a straight line. Something changed, right? Even in this short this morning, in the morning where you could have said, hey, there was a good short. Look, there's no rotation until the very bottom. And the very bottom, that's where you got the straight line, and that's what exhausted. It actually exhausted the move, right? The other thing, and this is important. So I was at a friend of mine who runs a investment firm, hedge fund, and he asked me an interesting question. He uses the platform a lot like Peter does, but for hedging of positions and little things like that, right? And he's like, you know, Simon, really the first thing that has to happen for me to even look at your process is I have to see the market going up and down. right? And he said something very, very specific that I found very interesting. He goes, right now, everyone feels very secure that the market's going up. He goes, and there's very little opportunity in markets that are secure. I'll say that again. He said there's very little opportunity in markets that are secure in the way they operate, right? So you got to remember that, because some people got to be sitting there going, man, it's getting hard to make money, but it's not really. You have to focus on the long side, right? You have to get your opportunities when they show up, right? Like, for example, if you were trading at 801, if you look at, no matter how you look at it, you either looked at this and the subsequent apex trap if you want a larger time frame, the apex trap off the 24 tick, right? That was an opportunity, right? And if you look, you're getting the arrows down, not at the very bottom here, but you're getting pushes to the downside, right? If you look off the 15 tick, off the 12 tick, excuse me, it's a 25-cent 12 tick footprint. You got an opportunity long there. And then the next stage of that question is, well, if we're long, right? So I want to go back and reiterate what I tell everyone all the time, right? This market has gone straight up for 3 or 4 days in a row with almost no down rotation, almost, right? If you focus on the long side of the formula, right? And I'm telling you this over a long period of time, people who make money, people who lose money. If you can settle your brain to focus on the long side of the formula, you will never get caught like the gentleman did yesterday on the short side, just getting pounded over and over again. Because it almost never goes straight down, and certainly not day after day after day of relentless, no rotation, no breather back to the upside, right? And that's because of the way the mechanics work. Now, if you want to short, I'm fine with it. I'm not going to waste my breath on telling someone not to short, because that doesn't work for anybody, right? But I'm going to bring it back to two important points, okay? The first point is that you are looking, you're either a dedicated scalper with size. Someone said to me, I'm not going to say what it is. He's like, Simon, I'm getting the trades, my win rate's high. He goes, but I'm not putting on my contract size. I only have one contract. So I make $70 or $140 or $200. I'm going to tell everyone what I told him. Okay? If you're going to scalp, you have to cherry pick the best setups, meaning everything has to line up, and you have to have size on, because size compensates for lack of rotation or lack of extension. Okay? But you can't do both, right? There's very few people who can onesie it, take $70 to $200 each trade, and go on about the day and be happy. So there's one or two ways of doing it. You look at it and go, well, I'm looking to be at support. Let's say you decided support today was going to be at the volume point of control. It's the volume point of control, that blue line down there at 28.73, has been support day after day after day. So when you get there and you take that trade, you have to look at it and go, hey, we're at support. We could target 29.13. Now that 8.73, right, turns into a $600 trade, right? But and I know this is hard. I get it. I'm not criticizing anybody. I'm not saying anyone should have done it any differently than they're doing it. But what everyone will learn, and what you have to learn is, once you have the great entry, that's step one. Step two is looking at the chart and going, where can this go? And what you really want is a time where you go, I know this is going higher, right? I know this is going higher, and I'm going to take my trade in conjunction with the way it's going higher. I'm looking for opportunities, but the read comes, right? So the read comes off of something like this, right? Where you have this here. Oops, didn't do that. So this is a bigger chart, right? I'm going to do something. I'm going to put a moving average on here. I think this is 200. Okay, that's the 200 period moving average, right? And what you'll notice is something very interesting if you just kind of scan through it. And what I notice that's interesting about that 200 period moving average is every time we dip above it, if we get a long signal, it tends to stretch a lot longer, especially when it's angled up. Now, anyone who knows me knows I hate moving averages. They cause utter confusion in my brain. Everyone who trades should know that. right? Like for example, I'll go, oh, we're underneath, we're looking for a short, then it bounces back above. Like I hate this price action, right? But what I don't hate, right? What I don't hate is when I'm looking at this chart, and I go, oh, look, we were well below, we've impulse moved back, and I know retraces in here will probably get bought because there's other people that like that 200 period. I'm going to show you something else. I'm going to duplicate this chart. I'm just going to do it 30 to if you want to use the US session times only, that's fine. That moving average works actually probably better, right? But you can see when you look at that chart yesterday, right? So this is the 50 retrace, this is the 200-day moving average, right? What I'm trying to argue or explain, argue is the wrong word, the case I'm trying to make is you have to look at the market in different ways to figure out where it's going larger picture. So almost everyone in this room can pick off a trade out of here. That was the 50 retrace, right? If I wanted to short, one of the things I was talking about is, if I was looking short, I'd want to get underneath this 200 period. Now, once I'm underneath this 200 period, I'd want to come underneath here and over here and go, hey, can I get set up off my smaller time frames? Right, as a matter of fact, I'm going to leave this chart off to the right. There we go, so I can look at it. I need to do one more thing to that chart. There we go. So that's how I want that chart to look. Okay, so that's day session only. Day session only, right? And if you'll look yesterday, we came back to the 50. We also was almost a gap fill, just shy. It was Dalton's gap fill actually, is what it ended up being, right? It got to that 200 period and the 50-day, and then it bounced. And what you're trying to do, and this is hard, I'm not arguing that it's not. What you're trying to do is follow that mix. When you bring this chart in, right? A little more days, so there's. When you bring this chart in, you can start to see pretty quickly which side is biased on, right? And you can see when it gets on the day session, when it starts to trend, it gets underneath that 200-day, it holds underneath. When it gets above, it starts grinding to the upside. So all I'm trying to do is when I get back close to that 200-day is go back to my smaller charts and go, can I get a setup that works, that makes sense in this chart to take the longs off of this area, right? Now, will I be doing this? Probably not, because I'm not the best at it. But there's some of you that can look at these moving averages and go, oh, this makes sense. We've impulse moved below. I'm looking for it to provide resistance. Oh, we double bottomed. We broke the swing. We're above the 200. I'm looking long for the push up. And that'll work for some of y'all. And I learned this from Daniel, right? Now, for me, it's hard. For y'all, it might be easy, right? I'm not a big fan. But the other thing I look at this morning is, what do we have to get underneath? The other thing I can say really easily, right? We have to get underneath 2770 right now to go lower, right? I know that for a fact. Like, it's not even remotely confusing to me. I can look at this chart. It'll adjust a little bit when we open. I can go, we got to get below that 200 period to have any chance of going lower on a trending basis, right? So all I ask of y'all this morning is think of creative ways of how y'all can get bigger extensions off the great entries we already have, right? And there's nothing wrong if you want to stay a scalper all day long. I like it. That's what I do primarily, right? But there's nothing wrong with looking at the chart and going, which way are we more likely to respond, right? So, like right now, if you look, this as soon as we open, this thing will have to be below now 2,800 is what we have to get below on the daytime frame. And guess what? I would expect it to bounce at about 2,800 initially, right? And then you look at the two and you kind of go, well, how can I line up a better trade or a bigger trade or get a larger trade out of that situation, right? Just because they've sold this morning does not mean they'll sell after the open. Econ-wise, I have not looked. We have nothing. Bostic speaks at 10:15. Hey Siri, set an alarm for 10 a.m. Bostic speaks at 10:15. A second. And 12 o'clock, Musalem speaks at 12 o'clock. And that's it. Tomorrow morning's PPI. We'll see if that does anything. Usually not. Okay. So, hold on. There we go. Hold on 1 second, guys. I just want to make sure. Okay, I'm good. Okay, so I'll open the floor to questions. If anyone to ask questions. Interesting. Thank you, Peter. Yeah, I don't expect us to go to zero. So slow and steady wins the race, always does, and will continue to. And I'm looking for 4x4 prints again, see if it'll slow down a little bit. Again, I'll be taking it easy the first 30 minutes, let them sort through what they want to do, and then I'll come and attack. And we probably need to adjust public slow. No, we don't. I expect the first 30 minutes to be relatively illiquid, at least the first 10 minutes of the day, as people scramble, and then we'll see what she does. More up would not surprise me. Also worth remembering, earnings season's starting here pretty soon. That's usually an up event, not a down event. I'll be back in a second. Super fast. Still hugging the bottom of the channel down there. I thought this gave us kind of a leg for a potential long leg there up. And they're obviously just chopping it inside value, right at the volume point of control, below overnight unfair. Just a tight little area. No sellers at the open. This is the opening point. There's your initial balance, which we haven't had to worry about that in quite a while either. If you want that on there, just look for initial balance under your studies. That's how you add that. Now, the longer we sit here and people try to press that short, they're going to get squeezed out of that. If they can get above 2,900, you're probably off to the races. Because look, you've opened. Everyone who saw the market go down, press, 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 and then what happens? They don't get anywhere. They have to cover. And there's no econ to help them out, by the way. So they either have to break that 2868, or they're probably just setting themselves up for failure. Again, no position, no trading on my part. I'm just waiting patiently, letting them work out what they need to work out. We are rotating, however, which is nice. Broke IB low. And we're trying to get down to Globex low. 28.51.75 is Globex low. Like a rocket. Good rotation, guys. You probably can trade both sides at the, if you use the 25 tick to get to your fourth channel, you probably can trade both sides today, which is good to know. Look at ES, higher low, holding. ES is trapped back into IB low, swept the IB original range. That's not bearish on ES. And since the open, there's no down on ES. So just keep that in mind. I think whoever's pressing here is probably going to be scratching their head. Important to note, if you're trading the smallest chart, this should have extended. This should have extended, stopped, trapped back in, and then you would normally expect that to push. May not in this case, but you normally would. Again, that was pretty golden there. Yes, and NQ, very different stories. Like to tag the lows. We're attempting a double bottom there. New low, NQ. Into that 50-60 retrace. Oh no, this is simply a hole in the single prints is what it is. That's a hole in the single prints in the profile. Here, I'll show you. One hole, and then here's the second hole down at 2800. And then we're also right on that 2800 is that 200 period moving average off the RTH only. RTH only. So what I'm looking for is a down arrow that gets stuffed on one of these beautiful charts. That'll give me a clue that they've overpressed, right? Without having to keep catching a falling knife. And again, we're in that time period, that 10-minute window where there's a lot of stops. So that up arrow right there, that's what I was looking for. I'm not long. That's the pattern I'm looking for. See that? That's why I look for that pattern. Falling, falling, falling. Usually at the high or the low, you'll get at least one of these print somewhere in here that says, hey, we're near the low. That's what that tells me right there. And look for the reversal back up. Okay, so that's in real time. When I post this video, that's at 8:54. You'll have a recording of it. That is exactly when you're in a free fall in the market, or if you're trying to pick off a falling knife, right? There's two elements that lined up here. The first one was we were in single prints, right? Not end cap single prints, but single prints. Second thing is that arrow down, arrow up. Remember I was going through the market preview? You had the arrow down and the arrow up, and both sides had no supply, no demand. That is a thing of beauty. Over here you had the volume thrust. That's what that green dot tells me, right? And then you also notice that the swing indicator turned on there briefly. It turned back off, but it turned on briefly. And if you had your RTH deal up, there's the 200 period on the RTH, which is another reason I was saying that 2800 area was an area that we were looking for pre-market. Okay, so you put all those pieces together. Yeah. Again, my commitment was to burning the first half hour, and that is exactly what I'm going to do. Now we're back up to backside test of Globex low. Projection off of Globex low and the overnight unfair pricing, at least initially. Again, the other thing I look for is right at that apex is that arrow up. Like, let's say I thought, oh, this is a great place to short, right? I want that arrow up with the no supply, no demand if I can get it right into that location. So that's a good sign right there, right? Now if I can get that stuffed, right, and get the rest of the components in there, yeah, that's fantastic. But it's got to all come together, right? See, so now see how it's gone? It's got to be the apex bar. I don't want it to be the second or third away. It's got to be the apex bar. This might get me there. And into the volume point of control. That might get me there right there. See that? Oh, now it can't be it. It's got to be the last one. The last one. Or I don't want it. Doesn't always show, right? It can turn without giving it to you, but yeah. And look at ES. Still has a broke IB low, right? Still hasn't broken IB low. So again, what I'm looking for is this arrow up to get jammed right. I'm looking right here, right? This is where I want an arrow up. I want to get it jammed. I need one up, 2 bars down, and that's where I'm looking for the trap. And if I don't get it, I'm okay with it, right? If I don't get it, I'm okay with it. I know when I do get it, it's so valuable that I can trade it well. Is the commentary helping, guys? That's very possible, Randy. I'll hit reload, recalculate, but I did not change them. Okay, so see that? Now that would give me a clue to say, hey, I can attempt, right? I can attempt
to look for the short against that. That's what that tells me. If I'm looking for the short, right? But it can't print 70. Right? You need the second bar. You need the second bar down. There it is, right there. That's what I was looking for. Randy, if they don't match, I suggest you just trade your own chart the way it should look. Perfect entry, right? I know it's at 9 o'clock. Arrow up, down, arrow down. Only thing could have been better is if there had been a no supply, no demand here. So that's for the scalp. Now, if you want the swing, now you got to go back and add up what your theory is on the market and let that rest of that play out for you. But once this market moves, the algos will be awesome. When it doesn't move, when it's stagnant, there's no rotation, very, very hard. When this thing is moving, it's beautiful. Telling you, if ES doesn't give up, we're going to have the same thing on NQ again. They're just going to grind her on up. It's just a brief profit taking, right? And then they're going to grind it straight back up. They're trying to get resistance off of IB low, but my concern would be this. If I were shorting, you need those markets in alignment to make shorts work, or they're just going to grind you straight up. Again, here's your entry. Arrow down, we have rotation, long there, no setup here. As a matter of fact, this is flashing short. The hard part is when one time frame's flashing short and one time frame's flashing long, you're going to have to make up your mind which way you think you're going to go. For me, I would not want to be shorting with ES hitting new session highs, right? I want those two things to be in alignment. So I'm not going to sit there and fight and go, they're going to give up ES. I want to see them giving up ES before I even think about a trade where I'm going to press to the short side. Scalp, maybe. Press now. Great. Thanks, Randy. I just had to reload, recalculate, so that's good. But even if they're not, just use your own chart, right? Press again to the short side. That's long on the second arrow up. Yellow here. I'm long at the 55, and I'll stop at 45. I may get stopped, but I'm willing to test it. So I'm going to get stopped, and that's all right. And that was to the hair of the chinny chin chin. I didn't adjust. Sorry, I should have. Should have adjusted for that. But I'm still alright with that. If I take this 100 times, it's 10 and 20 point gains and basically a max 10 point loss. So I'm good with that. I'll just wait it out. Back into the single print area. Obviously the swing lows there at 28, 22. And we're right on the 200 period as well, so they're duking it out. What I'm going to do is step away for a moment. I'll be back in about 5 minutes and get myself some more tea, and then we'll continue our little adventure. I don't like, so guys, y'all have been around for a while, right? When you're trying to swing a market and one market's going straight down and one market's going straight up, which is essentially what we have. We have NQ coming down and ES going up, right? That's called, so in a bull market, that's a cyclical rotation out of tech into whatever's conservative, but they don't sell the markets as a whole. It's not uncommon in a bull market, out of one into the other. You just got to hold your peace on that trade until they start trading in sync. For those of us where that's a really kind of a mind bend, wait, you can just wait till they line back up if you need to, or you scrap and survive those trades, one of the two. Okay, I'll be right back. See, we've made a decision. Into the single points, and finally yesterday's low. Finally a change in character. This is great. Randy, how'd the trade work out? You got paid? I'm on hold. I'm on hold, just FYI. I won't trade straight down. I won't trade straight down. Low prior day's low. It's too fast for this chart now. It's too fast. Okay, you're going to have to give it some breathing room. It's too fast for this chart. I want everyone to hear me. There's no way in hell you're going to get the fill on this. Okay? This is trend down. Easiest way to trade this is wait till we trade to the top of the channel on the 24 tick and then start looking for your trade. This is too fast. I can't reiterate enough. We're up so many days in a row. Let them burn. Let them burn it. There'll be plenty of time to make money, guys. The first down day after 100 billion days up in a row, don't get smoked on it. Apex trap. I didn't take it. Wasn't sharp enough to see it. Hey Randy, did you see the pace pick up to the downside? Like when this finally broke IB low, right? You had to know it was over. right there, like 909, 910. Like they were fighting it out between these two. Once this won, it was over. Market is too fast for me to trade. I'm waiting for it to settle. Okay, I'm just telling you, I don't like getting crushed. Randy, I'm sorry you took those stops. I don't like getting crushed, and I'm waiting. Okay, I know after 50 bajillion days up, you got to give it a pause. Now we're in trend down on ES and in AQ. Wait for the top of the channel. Guys, y'all have to get good at reading this thing. When it starts to hug the bottom of this channel like this, they were fighting it out. And they decided right there, that's where this thing was going to get rolled down. All the way through fair value, underneath prior day's value area low, backside tested prior day's low. Now we got to let it reset, right? Now we got to let it reset. And that's what I'm doing. Okay, I understand. But they were all on your process, right? Purple bar stuffed? Or on the other one with the arrows? And I'll go through and look at them. Okay. There's nothing you can do when the range expands to the downside, Randy. You're just going to get caught in it. I don't know what else to say. Everyone is. It's not just you. Everyone is. Let me go see what you got. Were you on this? The 12 tick? Okay. So, Randy, I'm going to ask you. So this would be stop one. So did you take this? Because this paid you. This stopped you. Oh, whenever it gets fast, Leandra, there's issues with rhythmic. Whenever it gets fast, there's issues with... Okay, that's fine. But that's why I was asking you. I'm all right with it. This only gave you 1 bar of lift. And this gave you 1.5 bars of lift, if that. Right? So I would go long, stop. I would have taken that. So I would have been stop, stop. But I got to tell you, so this is important, Randy. Usually when you take this trade, you usually get 1, 2, 3. This is actually 3. You usually get all those stuff. Those are good trades, right? Those are good trade setups, right? You got to recognize and go, hey, this shouldn't be more than, like, this should not be more than 2 stops without a scale at all, right? You just got caught flat-footed. It's all right. There's nothing you can do about it. But that's why I think I walked back in right here and just said, I'm not doing anything, right? Because I looked at the pace of how fast that was happening, right? So deep breath. Those shouldn't have been more than 10 points each, right? Correct? Okay. Now you've traveled to the top of the channel, you can start looking for two-sided trades, right? 10 points on 2 contracts. Okay, that's fine. Because normally those would have been 15-point stops, but you've got to recognize when it's gotten too fast on there. It's really super important. Otherwise, don't trade that chart. Just stick to your 15 tick and your 24 tick. But even over here, you would have been, I mean, even here you would have gotten clocked, right? Here. Like this should have told you really quick. Here, you only get 1 bar of lift. That was in the 903, right? And you need a Goldilocks market for this chart to work. You just do, right? So I'm not criticizing you at all. It's frustrating to get stopped like that. I hear you. But you've got to know the first day after straight up is usually just brutal to the downside. So take a deep breath, Randy. Usually when it's fast in the morning, it'll be balanced in the afternoon, and let the trade come down. Blue dot star on the 24 tick, by the way. I'm just watching. This is the first day where there's a change of pace, right? This is good for us overall, but that's why I am watching. And not pressing. Here's where we are on the profile. Randy, it's important that you take a deep breath and not go to frustration in your trades, but ask yourself, so write down what has happened. First of all, that'll be valuable in your future, right? Secondly, go to, right, is this normal or abnormal? 3, do I need to change the way I am trading? The answer to probably the last 2 questions is no, right? So what we've done, this is from 7.9. We're below 7.10. We took out the low. They're attempting to trap back in at the low at 7.02. Okay? The next low that needs to be taken out is 20.615. It's the biggest down day we've had in a long, long time, and it's an open drive lower. There's large areas of fair pricing and unfair pricing to be had, and this is the first long liquidation day we've had. It's hard, because we've had to be patient on the way up, and now it gets so fast that it's difficult for us to trade. So I'm just taking my ES and NQ, we're not matching up, and one of the 2 of those we're going to win that fight, okay? And now they're working through who's going to have the upper hand on that fight, okay? I'm going to wait for them to figure that out so I don't get bone crushed, okay? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wait to figure out who has the win in that fight. And now I know when we come back to the bottom of the channel, I should be able to find at least some scalping opportunities to the long side. Randy, also, you shouldn't be firing a trade every 2 minutes. I'm just saying, under normal circumstances, that's very rare. So that should click in your head quick. Hey, I don't normally do this. I don't normally get this type of price action. Let me give you an example. Here, I would think we were short. We'd go, oh, we're coming to the back of the single prints. We're going to roll lower. What am I waiting for? For me, if I wanted to short, arrow up stuffed on one of these, right? Or some other combination of setups that I would normally look for, like an apex trap back into that pink dot star down, might be something I look at, but I don't want to get run over, right? What's the worst scenario that could happen here? They start running it the other way, right? They start running me the other way. Okay, so I don't want to get... Yeah, I agree the 24 tick is or was supernova. I agree. I'm just looking for the bottom of the channel down here. So, yeah, I wish I was here to say something. I stepped away for a minute, but I would have said don't take multiple trades. If that prints a bar up off that green dot yellow bar, I will attempt the long if I get the second bar to lift up. And now particularly with the red arrow and the green dot on the 12 tick, and I'm getting it on the 50 cent as well. Brutal. Wait for the second bar. Wait for the second bar. .50 rotations. I'm telling you, that's brutally fast, much faster than what we've dealt with. That was a 50-point rotation in 2 minutes. Okay, we haven't had that in a long time. You're gonna have to adjust your brain. You're gonna have to adjust your brain to this, guys. Okay. Well, it looked funny to me. That's the first thing I said is ES is up, NQ is down. They're gonna have to decide who's gonna save who. Randy, I said that out loud. I was like, I don't like it when they don't match up. There's nothing against anybody. I just don't like it when they don't match up. I just know the first down day is going to be really hard. That's all. I know there'll be opportunities, but I knew there was a change in character already, Randy, right? Like the range had changed. We traded below volume point of control. We traded below prior day's low. That tells me everything has changed. That would be the reason why I missed. If I missed anything, that would be why I missed, right? So that would be how I would explain that. But this is important. Don't lose your cool. Take a minute to get reset on what you need to do. It is very, very important to reset on what you need to do. Okay? Very, very important. Don't blow out your accounts in one move. We're business people, right? What we're looking for, this is what we wanted. We wanted the market to open up, and now we want it to see next target. What's the rhythm? What's the pace that this thing's trading off of? Like, for example, this is good to see right here. This worked. That worked. That worked. Right? I'm just going through, right? I didn't get the setup here. It was a different setup. I didn't get the optimal one that I want. That worked. Now the question is, can I get it? Can I actually enter the trade and get the trade, right? But what I want to do is be cautious until I see, and what did I say I wanted? ES and NQ to line up together. That was the important operative word. I want these things to line up together, right? And then I can start looking for my trades. The next thing that's important in my elements of things to look for is the pace of trade, right? Is the pace of trade one that I can manage without it blowing me out of the water, right? The pace at 9 o'clock got really, really fast. And the way I would have known that had I been here is if I'd taken one stop, then two stops within 2 minutes. That's really unusual, right? The fact that I even got two setups within 2 minutes, even if you look at this pace, 36, 34, right? These are pretty slow in developing. They're not all that fast. So when they're going off in seconds like that, that should be a big warning sign for not just you, for all of us, right? Pace of trade slowing a bit. 200 period is all above us. That was a very fast reversal. Potential tweezer bottom there on the 50-cent chart. That would be against like 70. I'm not taking it. I'm having a trust issue with this at the moment, so I'm watching and seeing what I can see. I'm trying to learn the pace, or the rhythm of the pace. Here's where we are in the profile. Every time I do this, I seem to have horrible timing for it, but one timing to the downside. We haven't gotten above the 30-minute period. Here's the low, just below 26.58. There's a naked volume point of control here, is what's holding it. Sorry, this should be like this. That's what's holding it right there. And then there's unfair pricing is below 26.40. So we'll extend the zone to that. I'll just make this up as I go along. And that's what we're looking at. And obviously when you look at this area, right, they've had a hard time keeping sellers, right? Look at all this. Once we got above, they had a hard time holding sellers below 26.56. I'm just talking about history, but look, the history says we have a hard time holding underneath. But that being said, it can stretch all the way down to 2600. And I didn't expect us to have this big, fat, ugly down day, right? So we'll see. The funny thing is, this is not a gap out of range. This can still trap at 702 and rally back up. I don't know if that's funny, but that's what That's what it says, is that this is not a gap out of range. There we are, back in towards the low. Again, I'm looking for arrows down over here before I want to take a long. I'm not looking at that chart that says, but this is support or this is resistance, right? I'm not. Again, on setups that should work, when they stop out immediately like that, I don't want to see this. I want evidence that these are working, not that they're getting insta-stopped, okay? There's a problem, and the problem is everyone is long all the way through here. None of this has been auctioned back, okay? None of this has been auctioned back. We're right in front of unfair pricing at 2644.75, right? I am not looking to force my hand long here. I am not. I'm going to reiterate that because I don't want anyone to blow up. I'd rather miss it and get it once I see it stabilized and get paid versus trying. Everyone's gotten used to the V-shape working. I'm trying very, very hard to hold on to stay engaged but not lose any money in trading this. And right now, I can't do that with what I see in front of me. Okay? I see the sellers have gained control immediately, and I'm going to have to take a deep breath and let this settle, right? My guess is this afternoon will be better than this morning. That's my guess. Wow. Got a pretty good chunk of change. Also, go look at your 5-minute bars. Wait till we trade above on a 5-minute bar. Another potential way to read the reversal. Okay, trade above a down bar, down 5-minute bar, and we have not done that since before 9 a.m. Been able to close above a down 5-minute bar. Okay, another big clue. Okay. There we came into the unfair pricing and found responsive buyers. Am I upset that I didn't take this? Nope, because I didn't take this either. I didn't take the stop here. I'm just waiting, right? Down 243. This is normally where I'd be looking to buy calls intraday, 200 to 300 down. If you look on your 4x4, you've got to get above, the break will come above 2690. 90 to 91. Just telling you. Five-minute chart, still 5-minute bar under 5-minute bar with no 5-minute bar closing above at last 5-minute bar down at all. In that sense, before the open. Chop, chop, chop. 9:50 to 10 a.m. chop window, just FYI. Low of the day. I'm on total hold. I'm wanting to go long, but I'm on total hold. I'm on total hold. It's just too whippy back and forth. It's not giving these nice fat rotations back and forth, and it's a 9:50 to 10 o'clock. I have survived this day to this point. Okay, survived this day to this point. I am not giving back my money until I can look at it and go, yeah, we're going up, or yeah, we're going down. And if I can't tell that, if I don't see the pattern, right, I don't have a reason to call out. Do I have it marked on the chart? I do. But I don't see a reason to call out this any more than I have a reason to call out anything else on this chart, right? Without going and using all my tools to go, oh, I see the impulse move. I see the dominant wave up. I see we've gotten above on this, right? The 200 period moving average, which by the way is way up here, right? Do I think it's long? Yeah, we're down 200 to 300 points. But it's whipping back and forth so quick. We've gone from no rotation to massive rotation. It's neither one serves me very well because I have to take so many stabs. I just get stop, 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 right? low of the day into single prints and testing that 2615. Free fall, guys. That's all I can say. Free fall. If you'll pause when this happens, you had to know a big nasty down day is coming. I've been saying it for days, right? Bostic in 15 minutes, guys. Complete free fall. Complete free fall. All I can suggest is you stay away from this. My only suggestion, stay away from this. Stay away from this. If you want to catch the bottom, be my guest. Stay away. That's all I can recommend. Stay away. I cannot, I don't know how else to warn other than that. People get pissed when I don't. Stay away. It's easy. Stay away. Don't get crushed. Why get crushed? Doesn't make any sense. Big push down on 75 cent. Do the shorts cover in front of Bostic? Right now I got to get above that 2667 to think significantly higher. Do they come in front of Bostic? Everyone doing okay? If anyone needs help, let me know. That was a bone crushing to the downside, and they had it coming. They just did. Look at that arrow at the bottom. See that on the 50 cent? It's hard to get there. Let's see if we got any others. That one stop. Well, you would have gotten the lift to get a scale. That one probably would have stopped you. And that one. It's not horrible for a trend day down. They're going to push into Bostic now. This is not where you want to start shorting on a rip up off the bottom after down 300 points on NQ. And if you look at your swing indicator when it's turned on today, look at that whole move down, and it's fast. There's the two times it's come on. 8:30, and again right down here, this is where it started. It was right there. And if you look from there, once this was on, this pattern repeats, arrow down into the bottom, I forgot to mention it. And it gets stuffed, and that often provides the release or the relief to the upside. I would not short this into Bostic. Back to retest the lows. No setup for the long. All the way down. Man, the illiquidity is pretty brutal there. That was 640 to 590 in a straight line. And 90 to 30 in a straight line. No lift. Trend day down. They just don't want to lift, and that's all right. Too choppy, too everything. Just let it go. It's unfortunate, but that's what it is. That's a good reversal pattern right there. I'll attempt that long against the low. I'm going to take it twice on the next setup off this chart. Okay, so limit. I need 2 bars up to take it. So 52.50 right now. But I'm looking long now. I'm long, by the way. I was late, 38. I'll use a 38 against the 28 stop. May get stopped. 38 against a 28 stop. Maybe not. I thought we'd get to lift before now. I'm going to try and push this trade. I'm just going to take a stop on it if it doesn't hold the 28. That's all there is to it. You can scale if you need to. Looks like I'm going to get stopped. Stopped. I'm alright with that.
I should have come in right there again.
Pink bar up on the first bar on the 24 tick. Double pink on the 50 cent. Potential lift there. Double pink off the bottom there.
I take a long at 25 against the low. Again, I'm obviously bottom hunting this thing, right? So
If I get stopped, I just get stopped. Not much I can say about it.
right, if it's in free fall all day, they're not going to reverse it. I'm going to take clocks. I'm going to get clocked.
Damn, I thought I had it. Stop is at 1175. No, looks like they're going to take me.
Not yet. 1175. And my goal is to push this trade. We're so far down. I'm only going to push up to 2583 or somewhere in that area.
Looks like I get stopped anyways.
Not yet.
But not looking promising, that's for sure. Looks like my stop is coming on up. Wow. What a total bummer of a day.
All up, all down.
Stopped.
I'm going to stop for a while now.
That is just not a pleasant experience.
It's just free falling.
I don't know what else to say. Hey. Yeah, hey. Yeah, that's fine. Tell him to come on over. Hey. Are they in there right now? Okay, that's fine. I'll see him in a second. No problem. Hey, girls.
Hey, buddy, is it almost time for lunch?
It is almost time for lunch.
I'm hungry.
Okay, you gotta wait a sec. I'm
I
winding
thought
up.
we were going to Mama's birthday party.
You gotta give me a second, girls. Hold on.
Really, where are we going?
Give me a second.